What's up, everyone? My name is Mihir. I'm joined here by
Alyssa.
And today we're going to be casting UTD versus Rutgers White. UTD is coming straight off of a loss, and Rutgers is 1-0 on the season. So I'm curious to see how UTD does adapt coming into the second game of the season. They are being coached by former pro player Def Lee, who has previous experience with Golden Guardians and EG. So he brings a wealth of high-level knowledge, and I'm curious to see how adaptations will be made, because as someone who's played pro at the highest level, he probably knows a lot about coming off of these losses. So I'm curious to see how UT does adapt and what kind of picks or strategies he might lean on.
All right, we're coming in a draft right now. Looks like we've got a Kindred ban on the table, perhaps.
That's a really interesting one, considering Kindred isn't the top of the meta, so I think it's more so a comfort ban, probably banning out the UT jungler and trying to hit some of his champ pool. And that's going to be the Seraphine ban. I really like this ban because the bot laner for Rutgers has been playing a lot of Seraphine. So I think limiting this champion gets rid of a lot of the laning power, and it is a pretty valuable flex between support, mid, and bot.
All right, we're seeing some world influence here. We've got a Hecarim ban. Hecarim has been really strong. He's a really good jungler, super fast gank, super good clears, so not surprised to see that ban here. Caitlyn as well, she's really strong right now in the meta, really good range. And then a Karma ban as well. Misfortune, not surprised to see that as well. Another really strong ADC, so that pool is dwindling.
I think the Maokai first pick is really interesting, considering the recent changes to Maokai. They make him really flexible. He can be played as a top jungle or even a support. I think we've seen jungle and support at the World Championship. We haven't quite seen a top game yet, but the response from UTD is going to be that Graves. Again, another really strong champion on this patch. That one primarily goes into the jungle. So I think they're comfortable with that Maokai being flexible, and they're really confident in the Graves pick. That will most likely be going to their jungler. And
Graves does a lot of, he fills a lot of similar roles to Kindred as well. Just having a really strong marksman in the jungle and have that fast-paced gameplay. That's a really good answer to that Kindred ban. And we're going into the second pick for UT Dallas. They might be going for an ADC pick here, probably a mid pick. Really fast bans, really slow picks.
Happens.
Ezreal.
So I actually think it's really important for Rutgers, since I did mention they do have a three-way flex. If you can limit yourself from picking, I like the AD carry pick because you haven't revealed your jungle or your support yet, and the Aatrox as well is probably the best blind top you can get at the moment. So we still have the flex of the Maokai between the jungle or the support position, and I think that's really smart by Rutgers. So far, I'm really satisfied with their first three picks. I think UT Dallas picking the Ornn is kind of signaling, hey, we're going to probably be playing strong side towards the bot lane and weak siding our top. So the Aatrox will probably be ahead early, but I'm curious to see what marksman or support combination they go with for UTD.
Yeah, I think Ornn's a pretty good pick top as well, just because we have a lot of big fighter meta, big bruiser meta right now. So he's a really good kind of slow lane to keep things stable in the top side. And then we've got the Ezreal pick coming out again. Pretty good answer into Jasonaa. He's got that dash so he can jump away from her when she jumps in. So it's really good, really safe pick. And we've got some more bans. So we're looking at, we don't know if that Maokai he's probably support. So we're looking at the mid and the jungle pick for Rutgers.
Diana ban coming from UT Dallas. I think Maokai is actually a really good answer to Ezreal because his W is point and click, so he's able to follow the arcane shift. So even if he W's on and Ezreal does jump away, Maokai will follow him. So I think at the moment, Maokai would be a decent answer, but I'm curious to see how they might adapt. They might save even support counter pick or something like that. There's going to be a Janna ban coming in from Rutgers. So they're going to try and hit a lot of the enchanters that complement Ezreal really well, because Ezreal does have a lot of synergy with a lot of these poke mages, such as Karma, Janna. Seraphine was already off the board. So I'm curious to see maybe if they ban another support, or maybe if they hit a different position like mid or even support again.
Yeah, and we've got a targeted Echo ban. Looks like it's kind of hovered here because it looks like Rutgers plays a lot of Echo. And we've got a Renata ban possibly coming in. So it looks like that they're kind of banning some of these disengaged champs, some of these, because they really want to have a strong engage comp. They've got Aatrox, they've got Tristana, they've got Maokai. That's a really strong engage comp right now. So they're just trying to, put the odds in their favor. We don't want that Janna tornado running into our face. We don't want that, Renata ult coming through. Victor's a really good ban here too, because he's really, really strong in the mid lane right now. And we've got a big engaged champ here with Rakan. I'm not sure how synergetic that is with Ezreal. I mean,
It's a pretty good matchup because
Yeah.
Ezreal can E forward and Rakan's able to play off of that.
Mm-hmm.
It is something I like to lean to, but we're actually going to see them going towards Azir. Azir is another really popular champion in the meta. He has a really strong late game, a pretty decent lane, and he's really good at the side lane as well. And when you look at UT Dallas's draft so far, they have what's most likely going to be a 4-1. They might send Azir to the side lane, but they could even play something like a 1-3-1. And I think having this flexibility in playstyle is really important to retain. So far I'm seeing a very high damage comp from UTD. We have Ezreal and Azir who are going to be hitting really hard. We have pretty balanced damage as well. We're not too much AD or too much AP. And I think the Victor final ban kind of forced them onto Azir, and I'm curious to see what their answer is. I think Viger's a solid answer. I don't know if they want to go it considering a lot of their champions have ways to play around the Viger. So Ornn has his unstoppable. Ezreal can always E over.
Yeah.
And if Ezreal's
I don't know if that's the strongest pick here. I mean, Vigor is pretty strong no matter what you do. He's really, really flexible. But I think a different, mid laner like an Ahri or something to really get those picks in the back line, something to jump back, maybe like a Zed or something would be a lot better because UTD has a lot of answers to these really strong engage comps like Aatrox, Tristana. They have the Azir wall, they've got the Ornn Horn, so just something to be able to kind of get around that and fight in their back line would be really good.
And with the Wukong last pick for Rutgers, they've kind of more or less finalized their drafts. It's going to be Aatrox in the top lane, in the jungle is going to be Wukong, and then Viger mid lane, which is Tristana, Maokai, boss. So kind of what we're predicting, the Maokai being a very safe blind, and they're, I guess, in a way, they're going to deal with Ezreal with that. And I like the Yuumi pick here, considering we just talked about how they are going to be playing very engage heavy, so UGD kind of has to lean on this like disengage style comp, trying to play for the late game a lot. Champions like Yuumi, Azir, Ornn. In fact, everyone on UTD really wants to go to 30-35 minutes. Whereas Rutgers is kind of on a timer because someone like Tristana, while she does have a lot of power in the late game, she kind of loses a lot of the agency she has in the early because it's not very safe to jump into 5 people in late game as it might be in lane. So yeah, I think really solid drafts coming in from both sides. I'm curious to see how the game is played.
Yeah, exactly. I think UTD is really looking to play it slow. They're looking to, scale for that and play for that late game comp, where Rutgers is really, they just want to end it fast. They've got Aatrox, they've got Tristana, they've got Maokai. They just want to engage on those fights. They want to just get those towers and end it fast. So it's kind of a difference in play styles with their drafts here. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out.
And I think, in a way, Rutgers does have, since they do want to play this very aggressive early game style, they have very solid engage options. Like the Maokai R, you can just throw it down and it's insane pressure onto everyone. And I mean, they're relatively mobile, but something like the Maokai R does cover most of the map. It covers all the lane, all the rivers. So I think they do have some very good options when it does come to engage. So again, I would like to see Rutgers play really aggressive in this early game, kind of put UTD behind. Because if they can snowball, I think they should be able to take this game.
Yeah, and I think we're going to be seeing a lot of action in the bot lane pretty early. I mean, we've got a Wukong jungle against a Graves jungle, and so, the Ornn Aatrox is kind of hard to gank pretty early, so I think Wukong's going to be really looking to play towards that bot side to get their Tristana ahead. You've got the really good CC from Maokai, like you said, the point and click, so I think we're going to see a lot of action down there.
Yeah, 100%. And I think champions like Graves and Wukong, they have a kind of similar clear, kind of similar power spikes as well. Yeah. So I think it's going to be a lot of jungle action as well. I wouldn't be surprised if there's really early first blood or lots of early invades coming in from either side. So yeah, I think this is going to be a very exciting jungle matchup to watch as well as a bot matchup. I think for UTD, as much as you can, you have to minimize your losses. Try not to die too much early. Try not to fall behind because Tristana and Maokai are going to always be looking in to jump in as much as they can off cooldown. Especially if you're down on sums. So
exactly, yeah. I think if UTD just really plays it slow, they're really safe with their laning phase. If Graves has some really good counter jungling angles to kind of keep up with that Wukong, make sure to minimize damage. I think that they have a really good game here. Sweet.
You light up my world in ways I can't explain. Your electricity's running through my veins. Oh, baby, I can't help it. I've never felt like this. Only you can do what you do. Only you give me that deja vu. Only you. Before you found me, I was floating among the stars. No direction till I landed in your arms. Destiny makes sense when I look in your eyes. A new force of nature that brings me to life. Oh, baby, I can't help it. I've never felt like this. Only you can do what you do. Only you give me that deja vu. Only you.
So we are going ahead and getting into game one here. We see that the Vigar actually was
30 seconds
sent into the
until
mid lane. We
minions
were
fall.
discussing a little bit off camera about how there's a possibility that it is played bot. We're gonna see a little bit of poke coming onto the Strana. She might be forced to back early. She does have the Dorn's Blade and the pot, so she is pretty confident she can win the lane. She's not opting for something like the long free start that a lot of AD carries do. And yeah, I think Ezreal is really happy with that because he did stack some of his mana flow. He most likely has mana flow secondary, so he was able to get some of his stacks off of that.
Minions have spawned.
Like we mentioned earlier, Rutgers does want to play very aggressive early. We see the Ignite on Aatrox, as well as Exhaust Ignite bot lane. So yeah, I think it's gonna be a lot of high tempo gameplay coming out of Rutgers, and we can see UTD aware of this as they have a cleanse and ignite heal on Yumi. So they're aware that this is how Rutgers is going to want to play.
Yeah, and Exhaust is just like such a broken summer spell right now. Like it really can win and make or break a fight. So having that as a tool is really going to be useful against the Tristana, against the Wukong, against the Aatrox coming in.
So there's going to be a topside start here for on the side of UTD, and he's most likely going to be full clearing downwards. I think he's aware that Rutgers is going to be doing the same thing. The early cleanse coming out, it was really smart by Maokai, and now the timer is down for a bit. That might be a small window that Rutgers has to make a play onto the bot lane.
And right off the bat, we're getting some really big damage coming in. A lot of scrappy little fights coming out from top lane and bot lane. Like we said, Rutgers is really trying to get as much damage off as possible. They're trying to end this fast, trying to get as much poke damage off as they can, and get these really short trades in.
And I think when it comes to trading, I think a lot of the damage that Aatrox does can be sustained through the Dorn Shield, Biscuits, Pots, even the Grasp of the Undying. So I think if it is an even trade, it is winning for the side of Orange. But I think if Rutgers is able to keep up this early pressure top, then Orange should fall behind early. And we do see Wukong pathing towards the bot lane. I just finished his Wolves. He's level 3, headed towards his Raptors, most likely going to go Raptors, Red, Krogs. Looks like he's going to actually skip his Raptors. He's going straight to the Red.
Yeah, we can see that, both junglers are pathing down, so we're going to either see, a quick gank by Wukong and then a counter gank by Graves, or, there could be something mid happening, because it looks like Graves is a little bit behind on his clear. Lane states are pretty even, mid lane, bot lane. I mean, it's pretty even all around, so it's going to be pretty tricky for someone to try to get a gank in here.
And I think a champion like Azir does have a lot of priority early. You can see how easily he is able to hit the minions as well. The flash in coming from Maokai, the Yumi is dismounted. That's going to be a go-ahead via first blood for the side of Rutgers, most likely.
And Yumi almost made it out. She almost made it onto the Graves. Graves is coming in. But, the fight is lost here.
And I think even though there were 2 flashes going to the side of Rutgers, I think you're very happy with that kill. The kill did go onto the Wukong as well, so he's going to be ahead of this Graves. He's already up cams, and now he is up 1 kill as well. So yeah, I think this is a really solid early play from the side of Rutgers.
We've got Wukong kind of looking mid, but he's seen he's going to path top, probably get that crab, and then probably recall after that, and then look for another fight bot.
My bad, I'm sorry, he's actually playing really confident considering he is 1v2, but I think with the size of the wave that he does have, he's not afraid for the Maokai to go in. I think with the Maokai not having flash, it's a little bit of pressure off the side of UTD, but you still want to minimize your losses because he can still W onto you at any time. I think if you're the Yumi especially, let's be playing really careful considering if he point and clicks you, you're pretty much as good as dead.
Yeah, but you also can't leave there, you have to push the wave, you have to keep the XP going, you have to keep staying in that lane, so it's a really tough spot, and it was a pretty big risk, but, I think he played it right there. Alright, so we've got Wukong on recall, and he's pathing up top, so he's probably going to be looking for something topside with Aatrox, and we've also got Graves kind of hovering over there too.
That was an early sheen picked up for the Wukong as well as a longsword, so he is really ahead of this Graves. If there's ever 1v1, the Wukong just straight up wins. And he is going to be going towards that Divine Thunder that is known to be really strong on Wukong. And I think Graves, if you're Graves, you probably just opt for something like an Eclipse. But I have seen some Gore Drinker, Bruiser off tank builds. So you might lean towards that, but I think you just go Eclipse most likely this game.
Yeah, I think Eclipse is kind of the best bet. They do have a pretty squishy team with the Veigar and the Tristana, so I think that's just the best bet is to get them out. We've got some more poke damage coming out in mid lane. Azir is playing this pretty well, just trying to get as much poke down on this Veigar as he can. And top lane's an island.
The early pickaxe is coming in from the side of Rutgers. So Tristana is really strong right now. When she does hit level 3, she can W at any time. She has her bomb as well as her attack speed steroid, which is her Q. So I think Rutgers has a lot of agency in this lane. Ezreal does back for the Sheen though, so I think if he is able to poke out, he isn't that much threat, but if any time Rutgers does engage, they probably one-shot Ezreal, if not, chuck him out to like 75 to 80% health.
Oh, we've got Wukong in the red side jungle here, looking maybe to get something off on this Ezreal. He's kind of waffling around the jungle here, wasting a little bit of time, but he's waiting on the...
Graves is headed down here.
Yeah, he's it looks like they're trying to pull something. You've got Maokai in
They
as
are
well.
aware that Maokai is off the map. There could be a rotation coming in from ETD. He doesn't know Maokai is in the bush.
Ooh,
Oh.
smite battle on the Gromp. And nothing really comes out of this.
Oh,
Oh.
boss gun taken from 0-7. So yeah, I mean, I think that's really solid. Like I said, we're gonna see a lot of invades coming from the side of Rutgers. I think that was a really well played play by the Maokai, staying in the bush. Graves wasn't aware, but the moment he showed, Graves had to back off. I think that was really well approached.
And we can see here that Ezreal is, pretty far up in CS against this Tristana. So even though, that we got the Yuumi death early, I think this bot lane is actually still doing really, really well, and they're doing really strong.
Yeah, and once you approach 30 to 40 CS, it is equivalent to about a kill or so. So I think at the moment, Ezreal isn't too far behind, considering his Tristana does have an assist, and I might even argue he's actually ahead.
Ooh, we got the Veigar cage on the Graves, and we've got Azir coming up,
Should be a
so
lot of help taken, though. He
big
should be
poke
fine for
damage,
that.
yeah. Unfortunately, this means that Graves can't wrap around and gank the Aatrox that's pushing in on top side.
I think
And
Wukong-
Wukong is actually coming in, maybe looking to steal the red.
I think Wukong is aware that Graves will
Yeah.
be able to just hit his scam too. He's
Kind
actually
of
waiting in the bush.
waiting. We're just
Jump
all
in from
waiting.
Tristana in the bot lane. I think they are finding it.
Looks like Wukong's jumping out on the Graves, and he's just gonna walk out.
Yeah, UCD is actually winning out on that trade. They are going to out-sustain with the Yuumi and the refill pause from the Ezreal. So I think if you're UTD, you're really happy with that trade. And if you're looking at the top lane, you do see the lead as anticipated from the Aatrox. And I think it's more or less going the way we predicted it. The Aatrox is going to beat the Ornn really hard early, and the Graves hasn't been paying too much attention to this top lane. But he is headed towards the mid lane. A good dash coming in, dodging the W. They're looking aggressive onto the Veigar.
Oh,
The streamer
big
shuffle coming
Azir
in.
wall.
He should be just dead here. He might be able to
Oh,
trade.
big flash over
coming
the
in.
wall, and then flash
Flash
back
away
over
from
the
the
wall, and he
Graves.
comes in. Oh,
Oh,
he
he
dies,
trades.
and then he gets killed by the Azir.
I think if you're Rutgers, you're actually really satisfied with that play. You were able to blow 2 flashes and you got the trade kill. So it is a 1-for-1, and considering both mid laners did get that kill. And the TP is down, so Azir isn't able to shove this wave and recall. And Veigar won't be able to catch a lot of this wave and might miss out on a lot of XP and gold here.
Yeah, but the problem is that, like Azir got the kill, and now he's even more ahead. He's going to be 20 CS up. Veigar doesn't have, his teleport, so he's just going to get this lane push in on him, and he's going to be in a really bad spot.
100%. And I think if you're the Graves, that was a bit of a risky play, knowing that your autos do get blocked by the red buff. So I think he either didn't know that the red buff was there, or he thought that Veigar wasn't as far as he was. But yeah, it was good that Azir didn't die as well, because as it is, it's kind of even more favored towards Rutgers considering how much was used. But like you said, the Azir is really accelerated, and he is a Lost Chapter and a Fiendish Codex to a Lost Chapter and a Kindle Gem. Ooh, quick pause coming in, but that was
A little lag.
yeah,
a little lag coming
unpaused really
through.
fast.
All right, we look like we're going to be setting up around Dragon a little bit. We might have a Maokai roam coming in to mid lane. Ooh, things are lagging a little bit. So, yeah, the Azir is still really strong. They're going to have really good prio in the mid lane if they're looking to do a drag soon. Oh,
Good movement
Azir is
coming
getting
from Azir.
caged, but, he
Solid
walks it off,
movement.
doesn't care. He says,
Yeah.
you can't.
They're actually going to see Wukong on this red buff. So I think if you are UD, you do know that they're probably going to go for this dragon soon. And they are on a bit of a timer considering as it stands right now, Tristana is just off of base. Veigar did just die, but he's off of a base as well. I think if you are Rutgers, you're going to look to get this dragon within the next minute or so.
Well, I don't know because, UTD's got bot side prio. Azir's really strong right now. Like, they're trying to push this lane in, mid lane, and it's not, Azir's saying, no, this is my lane, get out, So I think that UTD is actually in a pretty strong position right now to kind of secure and take this dragon to posture to take space.
He is going to start with his dragon, but we do see the rotation coming in from the side of Rutgers. They're kind of attacking from a couple of angles. You see the Maokai and the Tristana coming from the bottom side of the river, and Wukong is to the top side. It's going to be a 50-50 secured by the side of UTD. And it's going to be looking like what's going to be a kill onto the Wukong.
It's a big fight. That's a really, really good fight there. So UTD was super patient. They pulled the dragon out. They waited. Fail smite on the Rutgers side. So, Graves was really patient, really good about taking that smite. And Azir walking
And
down.
I think that was a really clutch smite because if that dragon does go the way of Rutgers, you aren't too upset about the death. But considering we did get the dragon and the kill, I think you're really satisfied with UTD. We're going to see an engage onto the Aatrox. He's going to pop the R. The Ornn is going to knock him up. And this should be a kill. And that was a solid Ornn. He was predicting the flash. And that was, everything blown for the side of the Aatrox. And the kill did go onto the Graves as well, so he is now really ahead of the Wukong.
Yeah, patience is the name of the game here for UTD. You know, if they play these, you know, these fights a little bit slower, a little bit more patient, you know, they wait, they see, they predict what the enemy's going to do. They're going to come out on top of these fights, and we're
Did
really
actually
seeing
get
that.
caught out by the Vigar. He didn't have his slash, so he wasn't able to get out of the cage. But he does pick up the Eclipse, as we mentioned earlier. The Eclipse is going to be probably his safest bet, considering he is ahead and they are really squishy. They need the damage. And the Eclipse is also completed by the Aatrox. We know that Eclipse is a item that Aatrox have been building a lot recently. It gives them a ton of damage, and the way Aatrox works is the more damage he does, the more his healing is. So that's why we see a lot of Aatrox with Ghost Herald's Grudge second, if not third. So I think this Eclipse is a really solid buy, and even though Aatrox did die early, he still will have a lot of pressure in this lane, at least until Ornn is able to get some armor.
I think Aatrox is still kind of ahead in this lane. You know, he's really up in CS. He did lose a few plates, but and he can just kind of take space in this lane. We've got Graves coming down, looking to, you know, push.
Azir is here as well.
Yeah.
Both champions do have
It's like-
Flash. He knows that W was going to come from Maokai. Plays it really well. The Shuriken Shuffle is going to be used as well as the Maokai ulti. Kind of whiffs, so we didn't really pick up any kills, but I think if you are Rutgers, you are really happy that you got out without blowing any summoners. And I mean, all that UC really used was the Azir ulti. I don't think you aren't too upset, really.
Yeah, you just trade a Maokai ult for a Azir ult. You know, not a really big deal. There's no objectives coming up that, you know, blowing those is a huge issue. So
0-7 is really low here. The Rift Shield is going to be popped towards the mid lane just to pick up plates here. They're not looking to get the tower quite yet. And I think using it to get these plates in the mid lane is really important because, like we said, the Azir was really accelerated. But now Vigar has 2 kills. He has completed his Everfrost, he has plating, so now he is about even as well. And we see the Yuumi ults coming in onto the Vigar. He has Flash, so he should be fine. He's going to build the Flash, but it looks like he dies. The kill does go to Yuumi, but I think there's no complaints from the side of UTD.
yeah, I think that was, you know, it was still a really good kill, really good pickup. Vigar was a little bit greedy there, staying for a little extra plate after, you know, dropping the Rift Herald. So I think that was just kind of like a ego check. So
He also is, he has died without the TP again, so he won't be able to get back to lane. And Yuumi is staying to help Azir push in this mid wave. And so Azir is up a couple of waves on the side of the Vigar. And
you know, Ezreal's, you know, he's got almost 40 CS up on this Tristana. He's Azir's up in CS as well, so it's looking pretty good.
yeah, and when we look at the Yuumi, she actually has opted for the Lost Chapter. We know this is something that Yumi's tend to go if they are building the Ludens. And that is something that is better when ahead, but considering the Yumi's in an alright spot, I think she can get away with it. It might take a while to actually finish that mythic, but sitting on the Lost Chapter alone gives a lot of mana, a lot of damage. Like we see the damage onto the Maokai there, for example. The flash coming in, the cleanse and E used from the Ezreal, and he should be okay.
And they're out. Nice.
Just the cleanse and the arcane shift, so I think Rutgers did use quite a bit, but knowing that the cleanse is down, that might impact the way they play. Considering the Rift Shield is coming up really soon, that might give Rutgers a bit of priority on that.
Yeah, and it looks like we've got Wukong coming in on the Azir, but we've got a Graves coming in for the counter gank as well. You know, he's just kind of taking space, he's posturing. So that's a really, really good awareness on UTD's side.
And the Sunfire is completed now for the Ornn as well as the Bramble Vest. So I think Aatrox is going to start losing a little bit of his agency in this lane. He is still going to be really relevant and probably beat out the Ornn in the side lane at the moment. I think the Ornn is most likely going to also build a Frozen Heart at some point. Probably second, maybe he completes a full mill. It really depends on what he thinks is the best, but I think Frozen Heart is going to be another really solid option. And I think he has flexibility. He can go Merc Trez if he's afraid of the CC from the Vigar. As we mentioned earlier, he's the real one. He's really the only one who's at threat of being Vigar caged, as well as a Maokai. So he might opt for the Merc Trez, but he could also go for Tabbies as well.
And it's really not Ornn's job to win this lane here. He's really just trying to keep Aatrox occupied, keep him from roaming, from TPing down too much. You know, he's just trying to take up as much space as he can and, you know, keep this Aatrox occupied. So I think the Sunfire and the Bramble is doing a really good job at just, you know, sitting there soaking damage, taking some of these scrappier fights.
We do see a pretty big CS lead from the side of UD in the mid and bot lane. And I think this is really solid considering we talked about how the side of Rutgers did have a lot of early pressure with the Tristana, with the Maokai, but they haven't snowballed quite like the way they probably wanted to or expected to. So I think UD has, in a way, more or less played to the way they wanted and quote-unquote won so far, because Ezreal is really strong at the moment and he'll only get stronger as the game goes on.
Yep, and we've got the Rift Herald on Wukong. He's probably either going to look to drop that, most likely top, but he could be dropping that mid or bot as well. And, you know, he traded that for a dragon, so that's kind of the choice you make when you going one side of the map.
So I think I actually want to see him drop this most likely towards the bot or top lane. Mid lane is going to probably fall naturally within the next minute or two. We see a lot of rotations coming in through the mid lane from both sides. So I think there will be a lot of action in the mid lane, but I think you kind of hold on to it for as long as you can. And maybe you pop it in the bot lane. It looks like the bot lane tower is pretty low, or maybe even the top lane if you guys are pushing to get that one as well.
Yeah, I think putting it top is probably best because if you put it bot lane, then I mean you kind of lose that pressure of Ezreal having to constantly push, right? Like, so you really want Tristana to be able to farm up here. She's really behind in CS. She's behind in kills. You know, she hasn't really had a whole lot of pressure on this map.
He is able to arcane shift after the cage and almost gets caught by the Everfrost, but Ezreal is safe here. That was pretty scary for a split second. When I saw the stun, I got a little bit scared. I won't lie.
Yeah, I think Ezreal's just, you know, really good into Veigar. He has a lot of tools to be able to deal with him to keep that space needed to not get caught.
And we do see him with the completed Essence Reaver as well as the Caulfield's Warhammer and the Tier. So he is most likely going for this Manamune second build. I'm curious to see what mythic he does go because as we know, lethality has been popular for quite a few patches now. But I mean, I still do see Triforce occasionally built on Ezreal. So I'm curious to see what mythic he goes for. Aggressive engage coming onto the Azir. Looks like he might fall. He might have to build a flash. He's ignited. The flash coming in from the Tristana is going to pick up the kill onto the Azir. And Wukong's going to fall as a result.
Really scrappy fight there. It was kind of a 1-for-1 with the Ezreal. Oh, and then we've got Ornn coming in. He's blowing the Ornn horn. And it goes nowhere.
Kind of sent towards the Maokai, but it looks like... Oh!
We've got Ornn flashing in. He's going onto the Tristana, and then we're going to keep going. We're going onto this Veigar. We're trying to get everything we need. We've got Yuumi speeding people up. Veigar's caging here to try to get out, but he goes down to the Yuumi again. And Maokai makes it out.
Yeah, I mean, that's just confidence from ETD knowing that, hey, they are engaging, but we don't have anything to fear. We saw flashes coming in from the Wukong as well as the Aatrox, so, you know, it's really easy to get scared and run away, but they're aware, hey, we win this, let's play it slow. Let's play this disengage style that we did draft for, and it went really well. I mean, they had pretty much no casualties. Azir did drop really early on, but they went 4-for-1, so I think they're really happy with the way that went.
Yeah, they did a really good job of taking space and, you know, just playing it patiently, like you said, and that's really all they need to do in these team fights. You get a pick and you just, you know, you keep going forward. You've got the Ornn horn, you've got, you know, the Azir wall. You have a lot of tools to prevent their engage and then also to chase them down. So we've got Wukong kind of going in on this Ezreal.
I think he's aware that he does lose out on this, so he's going to go ahead and head out. I think Ezreal does have a lot of pressure here. Now has completed 2 items. He's not quite at that tier upgrade, but once he does, he's going to start hitting like a truck. So I think Rutgers is really scared of that Ezreal coming in from my bad, I'm sorry.
And we can see even now that, you know, the Ornn and the Aatrox are pretty much even. You know, Ornn's got the Sunfire Cape, he's got the Bramble Vest, he's pretty much even in CS, he's got a lot of assists. So even though he wasn't doing great during the laning phase, he wasn't losing, and now he's pretty much ahead.
And I think that's kind of the way it goes when you pick Ornn. You are kind of handshaking like, hey, we're probably going to lose the top side matchup, but if I just play for my team, it should go pretty well, and it has. So far, I think he's had brilliant rotations. I mean, the fact that he was at that mid lane play was really huge. He was able to deny a lot of what Rutgers was going to do. And
yeah, exactly. And we've got a lot of posturing kind of here around top lane. We have Ornn on the bot side. He's going to be pushing this. He does not have TP. We've got a fight coming out. Yumi's ulting. We're getting Roots here, and Maokai ults now, and then Graves gets caught.
The kill onto the Veigar, and
yes,
Ezreal did have to blow all of his sums, but I think that was a solid kill considering Rutgers were the one looking for the fight there. I mean, they were the ones running at them. Oh, the Q does barely miss on the Tristana. Aatrox is going aggressive, but he is going to fall, as well as the Tristana. Ooh, Graves falls pretty low, but the Yuumi is there to heal him back up.
I think Aatrox was feeling himself a little bit there.
Yeah.
He did not have to take that fight. It just wasn't in his favor.
And I think we did talk about how UT just want to get kind of play slow, play for this late game. But I mean, we're 20 minutes in, and they're up almost 6k gold as a team. Oh, and the Wukong is going to go in. He's going to pick up the 1 kill onto the Graves, but he's going to fall as well. And I think that's an okay
That's
play.
that's not a favorable fight. I mean, and we've got Veigar coming back in. Maokai's just going to flash out. Almost dies to get the Everfrost on. So and then Ornn in the back line. He's going to Ornn onto the Veigar and gets both kills. Really good play by UTD. Really good map awareness there. And then they're just going to go for Baron because there's no contest. There's no contest.
From UTD is kind of the star of the show. I mean, he's kind of the one who said, you know, hey, I'm probably gonna have a really bad time, but he has been playing the map really well. Considering he came from the flank, I think that was really intelligent. Viger doesn't have flash. Maokai didn't have flash. That was a really intelligent play coming in from him. I think he's played really well. I mean, and that doesn't take away from how well their AD carry has played, even their mid and jungle. They've all played really well, and I think it's a great game coming in from everyone.
Yeah, UTD is almost 7k gold up. You know, they're really playing to their strengths. They're taking things slow, but at this point, they're pretty much dominating in every single lane. So they don't have to wait for these engages anymore. They can kind of make their own plays because, Rutgers is just taking these fights that they can't win. They don't have the numbers. They don't have the CC that they need to be able to get through UTD's team.
And a couple of item updates coming up. We do see the first Ornn upgrade of the game. It is going to be onto Azir. I think this is a really smart choice because Ezreal doesn't have his mythic, and I think considering Azir is longer range than the Graves, he's going to make use of this Leandry's Anguish upgrade really well. He's going to be hitting really hard. He did offer the Shadow Flame second because they don't have a lot of MR. I think if they have MR, you might lean more towards the voice side, but considering they are really building MR, he's kind of got this Shadow Flame. And the Maokai ult is going to come in, but I think Rutgers is probably aware that they probably lose out on this. They might send Wukong for the 50-50, but it's really not the word at the end of the day.
They do not have Jasonaa in this fight. We've got Wukong coming in, but he's just going to get shot down because they just don't have numbers here. That was not a good... He tried to get to steal, but you're running in face first into 4 of UTD's team.
And in a way, you did delay the soul from the side of Rutgers. I think you're okay with that. Again, it's just like another kill, so it feels really bad. Oh, a lot of damage coming into this Aatrox, since Ezreal is hitting really hard with his 3-item spike. And he hasn't even built his mythic, but he's hitting really hard. The huge 3-win shovel coming in from the Azir. Viger's going to fall really low. Jasonaa should die here. 1 kill picked up from the side of the Azir, as well as a flash from the Viger. He's playing phenomenal so far this game.
Yeah, no, that was a really good fight. I think UTD takes that fight anytime because you've got dominance in every single lane. You've got dominance in the top lane, you've got dominance in the bot lane. They can go wherever they want now, and there's nothing Rutgers can really do. They don't have the tools to answer this powerful team that UTD is creating.
And like we mentioned earlier, Ludens is coming in for that Yuumi, so she's going to have a lot of damage with her Q. Her Q is going to hit really hard, her ult as well, and her heals are amplified by AP. So I think this Yuumi is going to be really annoying for Rutgers, and she'll be able to kind of shut down a lot of what they're looking to do.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And we've got the Oblivion Orb on Yuumi as well. So anytime she's gonna heal, she's gonna get that Chemtech. So anytime she heals, this Aatrox is just gonna be out of the fight. So is Wukong. You've got the Divine Thunder and you've got the Eclipse, but anti-heal is just so strong right now.
And I guess moving on to more of what Rutgers has to do to come back. I think it's really hard considering we did talk about how a few of their champions do fall off. But I think if you're Rutgers, you do play for throwing all of your CC at someone like the Azir, trying to one-shot him and then go from there. But I think it is really hard for Rutgers to play it, honestly. I think UGD is kind of walking with the game. The gold lead is now increased to almost 10k. And the Grave's not afraid to dash into Warrior. He's going to get stunned up, and the Wukong is going to knock him up, but he just isn't scared of the Yuumi on him. He's going to pick up 2 kills, 1 onto the Maokai, 1 onto the Wukong as well. The Ornn is going to come in, knock up 2, Aatrox and the Vigar. The Azir does have the Streamer Shovel, is going to knock the Aatrox back, and another kill picked up, and another one.
Just a super clean team fight by UTD. They were just really patient. They really knew what they were going to do there. They showed up. They had the numbers. They had the damage. They jumped over all of the CC that Rutgers was offering. So it's just there's nothing Rutgers could really do in these team fights because UTD is just so together. They're so clean. They're so posturing in these team fights that it's really difficult to do
100%.
anything.
I think it's a really solid game coming out from everyone on the side of UTD.
It's a 24-minute lead for UTD.
21
win.
to 5 victory from the team that we thought was going to be a late game team. So I think if you're UTD, you're really happy with this winning. This one went well. Graves isn't going to die to the 1000. He was confident for that one.
And that's a clean win for UTD.
And I think nothing really symbolizes that game like the Graves dashing in at the end with the Yuumi on him. He wasn't scared to dash into 4 people. Maokai was right there, Wukong behind him. He just didn't care.
Yeah, no, UTD was just so strong at that point that, Rutgers kept throwing themselves into these team fights and then they couldn't keep up. You've got the Yuumi ult, you've got the Ornn ult, you've got so many tools that you can use to just cancel these engages by Rutgers and just take over the team fight.
I really like what I saw from UTD. They did play to minimize their losses for the first 2 levels, but they did start getting small leads through these kills that they were picking up. There were a couple of early deaths from the jungle, but I think they didn't end up meaning too much considering the big lead that their mid laner did have. And I think, like I said, the goal of UTD was to minimize their losses, and they did that really well.
Yeah.
And they were able to, come out on top really early on.
And they were really good at just pushing their lead and keeping that momentum going. They gank to dragon to another gank to taking a tower. You just never stopping and stalling at anything. So I think they were doing a really good job of just keeping that gold flow and keeping those team fights going. So
yeah,
it's really good.
And this is a best of 3, so I'm curious to see how Rutgers does adapt. I think if you are Rutgers, you might want to lean on a comp that has more late game insurance, because we did mention how Vigar was really the only champion on the side of Rutgers that had any late game. So I think if you're Rutgers, you might want to play to a different comp, considering UCD does play the map really well. I kept on mentioning how their Ornn was in the right place at the right time always, always looking for these engages. It's honestly really impressive how well they're playing.
Yeah, honestly, it's the deathly difference.
Yeah.
So, and you could really see that with their team fights and their communication, that they're just, showing up at the right times and they're just being really patient. So,
I mean, target selection was
good.
really solid, and I'm sure a lot of credit does go to Deathly coming in with a lot of LCS experience, a lot of really strong performances in the LCS at the highest level. I think he does bring a lot of value to the bot lane, more so than other roles. Yeah, I mean, AD carry played amazing, and
Yeah.
I'm sure Deathly is telling him a thing or two.
Yeah, I think the bot lane was really, really strong there, and it's kind of one of the biggest reasons that they were able to win that, because you have Dragon secured, your Tristana was the biggest threat on their team, but she meant nothing in that game,
Yeah,
because she
100%.
just couldn't get a lead at all.
Yeah.
So it's really good on UTD's part.
I think their draft was really solid. I think if you're UCD, you've kind of seen that this draft does work, so you could always stick with that draft, or you could always switch it up going into the next game. And yeah, I mean, I think it's on Rutgers to kind of hit with something that we haven't seen yet, something we aren't expecting, because I think UCD does play this very safe kind of you come into us kind of game really well.
Yes, exactly. So I think if Rutgers kind of switches away from this really engage heavy comp and they kind of look for UTD to engage on them, they might have the upper hand, because UTD is really good at being patient, waiting for those engages to happen, and then capitalizing on them. So yeah, I think just not having a really engage heavy comp and just playing these games slower, I think would be in Rutgers' advantage as well.
100%.
Awesome. Well, the second game should be coming up soon. Should be having draft. So stay tuned.
from last game, the Echo and Mihir with Caitlyn taking on the table as well as Wilkie, and you see Ornn, and I think that's a really important ban considering Ornn did have the upper hand.
Exactly, yeah. And then we've got the Aatrox coming out as well. So they really just don't want to play that top lane again. Maokai support coming back out. I think Maokai was actually really strong last game. I mean, his ult is just so useful in team fights.
Yeah, 100%. I think if you're ATD, you can lean back on the Graves again. It was something that we saw was operating really well, but the misfortune is going to come in. I like this really early pick. I don't know how I feel about Lilia on this patch, but I mean, they are going to lock it in here. I think they are probably aware of the flex again, like we mentioned last game. They are aware that hey, this could be a Maokai jungle, it could be a Maokai support. We're gonna see the Tristana again. I'm not too confident how the pick will play. I mean, she is playing into MF now, so it's a little bit easier. But I think blinding it is really risky considering we could always pick a support that kind of screws over their Tristana here.
Well, and I think now that they have a better idea of how UTD is going to play their bot lane, so I think they're maybe a bit more comfortable on the Maokai Tristana bot side as well. I think the Misfortune is really, really strong. I mean, she's just been super dominating lately in League, so I think that's a really good pick there.
And pairing it up with the Lilia and the Mumu sets up a really big wombo. I mean, we can just chain CC people for days and just one-shot them. And we did see the Echo coming in from the side of Rutgers. It's a really important pick, as we did mention. Their jungler is actually a very prominent Echo player. It's a pick he's really comfortable on, has tons of games on. So this is his comfort. And I think coming off of a match 1 loss, you're kind of going to lean a little bit more on comfort to secure this win and kind of force a game 3 hopefully on their side.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And Echo's going to have a really good important job of getting to that backline and killing that Misfortune before she ults into
And
your
the
team.
Auction ban coming in from the red side. This is a really interesting one considering I haven't seen many Auction bans recently. So I think this is either something that's targeted at their mid or top laner, or it's just something that they think would be really strong into their comp.
I mean, Auction is so annoying to play against, so like I don't blame them for just,
Yeah,
banning it if they don't like it.
The revive mechanic can be really tilting, especially in the late game.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, 100%.
We've got the Azir ban coming out. I think that's a really smart ban considering how well the Azir was doing last game. It's just a really, really strong mid laner. Really good ban as well. Especially, with the Amumu on the team, you really don't want the Azir ult into the Amumu ult. So.
Red side has kind of revealed their jungle AD carry and support. So with their mid and top, they do have the counter pick for one of those options. I think you probably hit it towards the mid laner. The top laner has shown ability to play weak side, so I think you're not too worried about him. I mean, he's holding it down. Silas ban is coming in. I'm actually really curious to see if they do pick Malphite, because like I mentioned earlier, they do like the weak side top picks, and when you're playing Malphite, one of the most annoying things is to play against Silas.
Exactly.
So I think the ban is really important, and I think if you're Rutgers, you might be aware of this, and you might ban the Malphite, but if you don't, I wouldn't be surprised if he just grabs it whenever they can.
I think Silas ban is really important anyway, just because he's really strong in the meta right now, and we've got the Victor ban coming out as well. 2 really good, strong mid laners that you just don't want to have to play against.
I'm definitely expecting a Malphite, but I mean, there's endless possibilities. That's freaking the Yone coming in.
Yone
mostly.
mid. Interesting.
It does still have that top flex, but considering their playstyle, I don't know how likely it is to go top lane. They still kind of save like the Maokai pick. I still think it's very possible, and it would be really a solid pick with their engaged comp with the Amumu, and now we have the Yone. So I think Malphite would be really on theme, and it is a really strong pick here. The set coming in, I think it kind of disincentivizes a little bit of that engage.
Yeah, Set is really strong, and I think that's another comfort pick for their top laner. He dominates the lanes. He's really, really good right now. So I think that's a really good pick, especially picking blind, because Yone's probably mid lane, so you don't know what UTG is going to pick top. So I think they're still leaning towards a stronger top side. They really want to win that lane hard, because if they don't, they know what happens.
Yeah, and with the Echo pick and the set pick now confirmed, we do know that this Maokai is going to be going to the support role. So you have a mid lane. You kind of have to pick a blind mid laner. I think Zillion is a great option.
Yeah, I think that's really good.
Even if he does fall behind early, he has utility. And Renekton being however.
Renekton.
This is really interesting considering he does have value with a shield breaker onto the set, even onto the Echo.
I think Volibear's a better pick, though. Volibear can do pretty much anything that Renekton can. He can just do it better.
Yeah, and I think, considering they do have something like the Zillion, they might be looking to dive towers really early on. They have a really strong engage comp, and I think it's really interesting to see UTD kind of lean away from like the really slow comp they had in game 1 and kind of say, hey, we can play that slow comp, or we can play this totally different comp.
Yeah.
They're totally different champions.
Yeah, no, I think I really like the Lilia coming out. I think she's really strong. I like the Amumu support as well. I think that Amumu Misfortune is going to be really, really good in the bot lane, especially against this Maokai. You have, counter CC to be able to deal with you have the tools to deal with that lane. So.
And I think when we did have the Yuumi in the game, we need to put the lane very differently because if Yumi's ever dismounted, she probably just dies, and we saw
Kill a
that.
cat.
That's how she died level. That's how she died to that really early gank. Was she was dismounted, Maokai flashed on her, and then she was pretty much dead.
Yeah.
So I think with this comp from UTD, you're a lot more, I guess, you can kind of, sit back in your chair. You're not too worried. You're not.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that UTG is going to kind of use the same sort of tactics. They're going to kind of play it slower. They're going to look for these openings in team fights and things like that and capitalize on it. I don't think they're going to be looking to run around the jungle and, look for picks. I think they're just going to wait, sit back, see what happens.
I think you do wait for the objectives, play for these team fights. Like I mentioned earlier, they have a really great wombo. They have Lilia, the Mumu, and the Ameth.
Yeah.
And with the Void Break coming in, I mean, they have really strong AoE, really strong team fighting. So I think definitely they are going to be playing similar to how they played in game 1 in the sense that they're playing slow.
Yeah.
And now they have a really strong team fight comp to complement it as well. So they can go in when they want to.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the Volibear ult, you've got the Amumu ult, you've got Lilia ult as well. Like, they've got really good tools to be able to deal with any kind of team fight that they're going to face.
Yeah, 100%. And I think now that we've mentioned they're engaged, I think the Zillion pick is all the more valuable.
Yeah.
From the side of Rutgers. The Viger did have a decent amount of damage. He was doing fine, but I think it was kind of hard for him to operate, as we mentioned earlier. Like, he can't do much against Ezreal. He can't do much against Ornn.
Right.
Or even Azir, who just straight up outranges him. He can outrange his cage. Hey, throw it on your cage, I'll throw it on my soldiers and go straight past that. Like.
Yeah.
So I think this pick, even if it does fall behind, it does have a lot of value. And if it is ahead, I mean, Zillion from ahead can be really strong.
And even Zillion from behind, his ultimate is just so powerful that it really doesn't matter how he does in lane because that's a game-changing ult. So I think that's a really good pick. I really like to see that coming out of the mid lane, especially after the Veigar game. So it should be interesting to see how that plays out.
I think the Yone is another interesting one considering we don't see it often, but whenever I do see it, it is something that's kind of drafted around, played around. You see the Yone, it's like, we're going to make sure that this guy gets ahead.
Yeah.
So I think if you're Rutgers, you kind of have to identify the fact that they're going to be playing through the Yone a lot, and you're going to want to try and, as much as you can, kind of limit the Yone.
Right.
Because if the Yone does get really far ahead, it can be really hard to play the game.
Yeah.
I mean, he can be really strong in the side lane, he can be really strong in team fights. I mean, it's a really strong champion.
Yeah, exactly. So should see a lot of fun things happening around the mid lane and the bot lane this game. So
Yeah, 100%.
yeah, awesome. Well, we're just going to be waiting for spectator delay, so we'll be back after a short break.
kiss, sweet like poison. You know you make me reckless. I'll run, but you are friction. Your touch feels like heaven. You make me hate all my sins. You are my religion. My religion. I have a million reasons to leave you, but I have a billion reasons to keep you. I have a million reasons to leave you, but I have a billion reasons to keep you.
Running round like dollars in the wind, bending over backwards just to let you in. I told you that one day ain't never enough. You tell me I hate you, I still call you up. If we don't got trust, we can never have love. I was putting in the hours, I was. But you were calling me a liar, 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 liar.
We are getting into game 2 here. Rutgers is coming off of the loss. They are down 0 in the series, so they are going to be looking to win this game and force the game 3. I think if you are UTD, you're looking to play really strong. You know, you're looking to close this out, get out of here early. You know, head home.
Yeah, I think they're just going to try to ride that win and make it fast and make it quick. We've got the classic 5-point coming out here from UTD side, and it looks like we're kind of gathered in a bush here on Rutgers side. So I don't know if they're anticipating an invade or...
I think champions like the MF and the Amu have a really strong early invade. So they were probably preparing for that, and I think it's important to know with the Maokai pick in the bot lane, the 80 carry on the side of UTD has all the cleanse again. I think it's really important. I mean, if you don't have cleanse, Maokai can jump on you, and you know it's really something that can be a nuisance for the side of the 80 carry.
Yeah, and I think that cleanse, like he had on Ezreal and now he's got on MF, is just really strong into that kind of CC that Maokai. So
and it's similar to game 1. We're going to be having a top side start for the side of UCD, and Rutgers is actually going to start it off. What I'm thinking is a red side start for Rutgers. So they're going to be kind of playing opposite to each other. I think it's kind of like the way we expect it. You kind of want the set to get ahead early, especially with the Ignite that he did take. I think you definitely want to get him ahead, considering he didn't get much attention in the game 1, and you know, while he did have his own small lead, it ended up falling off pretty fast.
Yeah, and I think that's really smart on Rutgers side because, you know, this bot lane is going to be pretty difficult to gank. You've got the Amumu, you've got the E slow on W on a Misfortune, so that's just not going to be an easy lane to gank. And like you said, getting the set ahead is probably a really good avenue for them to win.
Onto the Tristana, but the response coming in from the side of Rutgers, really aggressive trade, and UTD is going to lose a lot of health onto their support. He does pop one of his pods, and I think if you are Rutgers, you're okay with that trade. The W coming in from the Maokai is going to be ignited here, and he's actually going to fall. First blood to UTD. And the bomb onto the Mumu, the chunk coming in from jasonaa.
It's a 1-for-1, and then
actually all across the board. The kill picked up from Rutgers, and MF is chasing the jasonaa. Jasonaa has no flash, but she's gonna get out. And I mean,
we've got so much happening in this first like
it just went down
30
all over
seconds
the
of
map.
laning phase.
I mean, it's hard to keep up. I mean, we had action in the bot lane, we had action in the top lane. So many sums used. I mean, that was crazy. That was great.
Yeah, we had a 1-for-1 bot lane, and then we had a set get the kill on Volleybear top side, which I think is going to be really, really good for Rutgers.
He's still going aggressive
and he's
here.
going scrappy.
He's not scared one bit.
Don't have flashes here, and he's just gonna take the trade and take it out. So
yeah, I mean, I think it's a little bit of overzealousness from the side of UTD. The W incoming from the Echo, and he's going to stun up the Volleybear. I don't know if they kill this. Oh, they are going to kill this. This is actually huge for Rutgers.
Huge. So yeah, like we said, Rutgers is trying to play this game really fast. They're trying to get, their set ahead. And Tristana is, ahead now too as well. Behind in CS, but that first kill was really, really good. So
I think she's going to pick up a lot of CS here, so she won't be as behind after she gets the whole wave.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean, this is really far ahead. Volleybear's going to miss out on a lot of CS. Trading coming in from the mid lane. He does have his Doran shield, so not too much to worry about. But I mean, this has been an action-packed game. We're we're less than 4 minutes in, but there's already been 4 kills.
Exactly. It's crazy. This is way different than the first game. The first game was played a lot slower, a lot more patient. In this, people are going ham. They want to test their limits. They want to get these kills in. They want to get ahead because they're not going to wait.
Yeah, and I mean, props to Rutgers for being able to pull it back together after that pretty convincing defeat in game 1.
Exactly.
I mean, they're playing really confident, really well. The Echo comfort pick, the set comfort pick. I mean, these are champions they know how to play really well in almost all matchups. So, yeah, I mean, more trading coming from the side of this top side, and the W is going to be used. So, just kind of like even trading. I don't anticipate the Volleybear dying anytime soon again. The Ignite is still down for a little bit for this set, so he should be okay for a while.
Yeah, this Volleybear's pushing pretty hard. I mean, he knows the Echo's bot side, so he's not going to get ganked here, so he's just trying to get as much damage off on this set as possible.
And I think it's a really smart ward coming from the side of the Yone. Kind of watches the jungle entrance from the Raptors or the Red Buff. He is probably expecting their jungler to be on the bot side, as he does show in the bot lane with a W. So he kind of is safe. He does also have the Scuttle Crab ward in the bot lane, so he's kind of in a really safe position. He has his jungler on the top side and he has vision on the bot side, so I mean, he's not scared at all right now.
Yeah, exactly. And while he's going to be taking probably quite a bit of poke damage from the Zilean, I think he's still going to be handling this lane just fine.
Yep.
We've got bot side pushing up on UTD side, so they've got pretty good positioning for Dragon. We've got Echo kind of looking around mid lane, possibly looking for a gank, but I think that he's going to try to head bot.
Yeah.
We know that they don't have sums, so that could be a pretty easy cleanup for them.
In terms of CS, I mean, the set is ahead early, as more or less we anticipated, and it is a small lead in the mid lane for UTD and a small lead in the bot lane as well. So the gold lead is only about 500, 600 gold right now. So I think you're not too worried if you're UTD, but you might look to change it a little bit differently considering you are a bit behind.
Exactly. So UTD is kind of having to shake up their playstyle here. I mean, they can't play it patient anymore because if they do, they might fall too far behind. So they're going to try to get the picks where they can safely get them. We can see Set's pushing really, really hard on the top side. He's going to deny Volleybear a lot of this farm. He's taking up a lot of space.
He is level 6 for the Volleybear's 4, so he is really ahead.
Exactly.
I don't think... Oh, Echoes is headed towards the top side. They might actually dive here. If you are the set, you can ult the Volleybear away from tower. He isn't level 6, he had no flash, and that's exactly what he does, and they're going to pick up the kill onto the Volleybear.
Then we've got a four-man gank bot side, and we're going to get both kills. Or no, Zilean is in here.
TP coming from the Zilean. Ooh, this might kill the Amumu. Oh, the kill onto the Amumu. So they're going to go 2 for 1 in the bot lane, and then the kill onto the top lane. I mean, this Volleybear is just out of the game at this point. He's missed so much CS. He's 0-3. Kindle Gem was about to be a big purchase from this set. I think that TP was really huge from Zilean. They still did end up losing on the bot side. I think as a net, if you are UT, you're really happy with the way that went. Oh, sorry,
Yeah.
if you are Rutgers.
Yeah, exactly. Because I mean, this top side was really, really played very strong last game, and now kind of in shambles. We've got 0-3 Volleybear. He's been ganked under tower twice. Really feeling hurt right now.
Listen, Mumu is doing cross map. He's going to actually shop at the red buff here, and the Echo is scared, asserting his dominance. He's going to secure the Echo away. I think that was really a really good heads-up play from the Amumu, knowing, hey, Echo is probably in the top side jungle. I need to defend my jungler's camps, and we were just, just the Amumu, just one man, and he scared him away.
Yeah, it's just kind of another little reminder. Oh, we've got Yone coming in. I don't think he's going to get the kill here, but he is going to put a lot of damage onto the Zillion.
So he actually did hold on to that R, so he was pretty confident he wouldn't die, considering the Yone doesn't have R. So I think that was a really good patience play from the side of the mid laner for Rutgers.
Yeah, I agree. So I think Rutgers is in a really good spot right now to kind of take these objectives, kind of posture around Dragon, look for that. They won't have mid lane prio, but I think their bot side coming back on the map from Recall is going to be pretty strong.
Yone is going to look aggressive here. I don't think he kills. He's going to build an ult though. He's going to fall into the Echo W, and it should be a kill picked up on the side of Rutgers. I mean, that was a great bait. I mean,
yeah, I think that I don't think the Yone should have taken that fight there. I mean, you knew that Zillion had his ult up. You're not going to get the kill. Yeah, you might pop the ult, and he's not going to have that for Dragon, but then you die.
Yeah, and he doesn't have a TP either, so he won't be able to join this fight instantly.
Exactly, not a great trade there.
Yeah, kind of like the importance of the Zillion, especially into the Yone. Kind of like shuts down a lot of what he wants to accomplish. But I mean, that was just a great play from Rutgers. We saw the support there, the jungle there. So I mean, they responded really well.
Yeah, and I mean, Zillion's he's down in CS, but he's up in a kill, and his job isn't to win the lane. It's kind of like Ornn last game. His job isn't to win the lane. It's just to keep the Yone occupied, keep him from roaming, and support your team as best you can.
With the recurve bow and the Vampiric Scepter coming from the set, we're gonna see the Blade of the Ruined King first item. I think that's really good into these tankier matchups. And it's just a Kindle Gem and a Ruby Crystal for the Volibear, so he really is lacking in the damage department at the moment. I think Volibear might be headed towards a Divine Asunder. As it stands, he won't be completing that anytime soon. He is down almost 40 CS, double CS for the side of Rutgers in the top lane. And I mean, the same can be said about the bot lane as well for UTD.
Yeah, this Volibear is trying to just play it really slow. We've got Maokai coming in.
An aggressive play onto the Mumu. He should fall here. He's gonna fall to the Tristana. Volibear is gonna ult, but oh, he's gonna build the flash. Set also has forced the flash. Echo with the ulti. He is taking up tower. That's gonna be one kill traded. Kills onto the bot lane. I mean, kills all over the map.
Wow, they really just executed those plays at the exact same time. Hard to keep up.
I mean, that is a 3 for 2 for UGD. So again,
Yeah.
you're winning out. When you're behind, you need to look for these plays. And now they're only what, 700, 600 gold behind. So
Exactly.
You're kind of. Volibear dying is whatever, but he did trade. He got a shutdown, so I mean, that's more worth for the side of UTD. And in the bot lane, I mean, they're killing everyone here. So yeah.
Yeah, so Rutgers topside is really, really strong. I mean, you've got this set, you've got these really good Echo ganks coming out, but UTD's bot side is just matching that, This Miss Fortune is really on her game. She's got her good reaction time, so pretty strong. Almost double the CS of this Tristana again. So.
And I think Lilia has quietly been having a really great game. She's 4-0 already, and she is up CS. I'm curious to see how she translates this lead into the team fights, because as we mentioned earlier, UT Dallas is going to be looking for those team fights with their AoE. And I mean, we saw like whenever they have the Lilia with the MF, it's usually gone really well for them. So yeah.
I think it's going to be pretty tough to get through these team
and
fights.
Owen does not know that the Amumu is behind him here. It's going to be Q and the W buffer, but he does have a Q coming up soon again. He's going to be stunned up and the E from the MF, and Tristana should just be dead here. That's just a little bit of greedy positioning from the Tristana.
Yeah.
She doesn't have vision.
Yeah, no, not really great map awareness there, but things happen. You push up in bot lane and then you die. It's just tradition.
Yeah, it's okay. That was a great play from the Amumu, just acknowledging, hey, she might step up here, and if she does, she's just dead. And that was great.
I think one of the biggest challenges for UTD and when we get into more of the team fight phase is going to be the Zillion, because I mean, if he just ults the set and set just revives back, that's going to be really, really tough for UTD to get through, because they're going to blow all of their tools on that first phase of the team fight, and then you just back up. So I think that's something to keep.
Oh, W's actually going to be blown with the Maokai ult coming in from the river. Oh, and he barely gets tagged by the very edge of the Maokai ulti. And if you are, my bad, I'm sorry, you are very sad about that play there. Yone is going to fall to the Ignite from the set, and looks like he won't trade either. The Q coming in from the Amumu, he's going to ult, and Lilia should be able to pick up the kill onto Tristana. Volibear is sleeped, and there's going to be a double kill for the Lilia. I mean, the Riftbreaker complete 10 stacks on the Dark Steel. I mean, she's just huge right now.
Yeah, that's really strong, and then we've got Volibear coming in.
Dark Steel is going to be thrown down. This should just pick up the mid lane towers. If you're the Volibear, probably just want to head out.
Yeah, you do not want to be here right now.
Yeah, he's going to be okay.
Yeah,
Especially, and I think it was chains picked up for the Volibear. Most likely he's going to bind that to the set, I think. I'm not too sure about who he's binding that to so far. But yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
this Lilia is just so huge right now.
Yeah, so I mean, the Lily is making really good plays on the map. She's doing very well at these kind of counter ganks, keeping her map awareness, and just dominating in the jungle here.
I mean, UTD is going to head towards his top side. Herald isn't up for a bit, so they aren't going to be looking for that. I think they're just going to rotate into the mid lane. The bot lane is kind of hard to play if you are the MF, because Maokai could kind of just like throw down that ult from the river like we saw, and it just kind of didn't know where left to run. So
Yeah, I think they're just trying to push this wave in, you know, deny Zillion as much as possible and keep the momentum going. The worst thing they can do right now is slow down.
yeah, an aggressive play onto the Tristana. I mean, Lilia's running straight into them. She does not care one bit. The kill picked up onto Tristana. Looks like Lilia is going to fall pretty low. She's going to fall to the Echo. That's really
Huge
bad.
shutdown for the Echo.
That is really scary if you are UT. You just gave the shutdown to like probably the strongest champion. The Q in from the Amumu. That's a really interesting one. And the Maokai is going to go in. He's going to pick up the MF. And I mean, this is just utter carnage for Rutgers.
Yeah, that is not a fight you want to take there. I mean, they should have backed off a lot earlier because, like we said, I mean, the set is dominating right now. So is the Echo. He's getting really, really strong, and having that shutdown gold from the Lilia is going to make him even stronger.
That was a risky play from the side of the Lilia. I mean, she went for the Tristana, but she knew the Echo was there. So I think if you don't have a flash, you kind of have to walk away from that. And they're going to dive the Yone here, and Echo does have ult. He's most likely going to tank it up and then ult, which is what he does. Tristana is going aggressive onto Lilia, but I don't think we're going to see her jump in here. And yeah, I mean, Rutgers are just picking up kill after kill. They're already up over 4K at the moment.
Yeah, I think we're seeing UTG take these kind of scrappier fights that they just don't have the tools to win. And it's kind of, the more they take these, the worse they're going to slide down, you know? So Rutgers is really dominating in the top side in the jungle. Even the Zillion is doing really, really well, just doing his job of taking space.
So I like to highlight the similar goalies. So we have like about a 45 or so CS lead on the bot lane, as well as the same amount in the top lane. So we see the set with the Blade of the Rune King and components of what looks to be most likely a Stride Breaker. So he is heading towards that 2-item spike. And I mean, Bolivar has a completed item, but it's just that Anathemas, that's just health. He doesn't really have any resistance stats behind that.
Yeah, exactly. I think Rutgers' topside is really, really strong right now, and I think UTD needs to start playing towards their MF to get her more kills, to funnel her more gold, because she's going to be the one that is going to be able to handle an answer set.
Yeah, I mean, Stridebreaker is coming in now for his set. He has a lot of pressure in the side lane. UCD does have TP advantage. If they're ever in the side lane, Bolivar can be in the fight faster than set. But I think if you are set, you're aware of this and you want to just be with your team before that happens anyways.
Yone's in a pretty precarious spot right here, so it's good that he's getting out now.
I mean, he was at risk of dying, and if they died, they just pick up the dragon.
Exactly.
They probably get the dragon for free anyways. The double bomb coming in onto the Lilia, but I mean, she should be fine here. They're probably just going to give the dragon and either look to make a play on the mid tower or maybe just, you know, hit it a little bit and back off.
Yeah, you've got Volibear taking the tower top, and I think that they can kind of push this lane or look to play topside.
The dragon is going to be picked up from the side of Rutgers, and that is a second dragon of the game, first for them. So far, you know, neither team has an advantage when it comes to dragons, so I think it's going to be a very slow game at the moment.
Yeah, still looks like a 4K gold lead for Rutgers. Lily's kind of taking all the camps that she can get, deny Echo as much farm as possible. We've got Yone answering the set bot side, but we've got Echo coming in, wrapping around. You do not want to be here.
Nice side step from the Yone. He's going to take him back to tower. His best hope of outplaying his other tower, but I mean, his best hope isn't really much hope at all, to be quite honest. Yet another kill picked up by the Echo. I mean, this Echo is just so strong. Both junglers are playing really well, but I mean, the Echo being fed, I think, is much scarier for UCD.
And we can see the mirroring on the map here, so Set's taking the bot side tower while UTG's pushing the top side. But I think this Tristan is going to be able to push these waves and prevent that.
Double coming on onto the Amumu. This should be a kill picked up for the side of UCD. Just caught out of position. I think he had the flash here. He could have probably just flashed a double bomb, but that is a kill picked up nonetheless. And I think if you're UTD, you have to remind yourself, hey, we're playing for these team fights at objectives. You know, we shouldn't be getting caught out like this.
Exactly. I think UTD has to kind of switch from the more offensive style that they had earlier in the game to just start waiting to see and answer Rutgers. I think that right now, because they're playing so offensively, they're taking these fights that they can't win. And they're kind of losing out on a lot of gold. They're giving a lot of gold to the enemy team. It's
100%. I mean, UCD's strongest member is their jungler, but even the jungler is behind, so I think Rutgers is in a really comfortable position.
Looks like Rutgers is going to take up this Rift Herald here and just further push that lead.
Yeah, the Herald picked up by the Echo. Doesn't really know when he's going to use it quite yet. I mean, they have taken all of the outer turrets in the bot lane, as well as the outer in the mid and top lane. So you just have the inner turrets for the mid and top lane. So it's kind of up to him whichever one he feels is best suited. He can even hold on to that for a little bit. If the dragon's up soon, he might be able to pop that before the dragon. But yeah, he's going to head towards his bot side.
We've got MF in the bot side, cleaning up that tower and just
She's going to be sort of buy this Zillion. Flash coming in, and both times blown by the MF. She should be okay though.
We've got a Moo to come in to support her.
Banish Charge is going to miss, but I think he's going to go in again. Ooh, I don't know about this one. This one's ready.
I think you just kind of, he just did that to save the MF because she's the most important asset on their team right now besides the Lilia. She's the one that's, if they just start funneling her and, getting her a lot of gold lead, that she can be really, really strong in these team fights. So I think Amumu sacrificed himself to get her out.
And we do see Zonia second coming in for the Lilia. I think it's a really intelligent purchase considering some of the strongest members on Rutgers are going to be looking to blow you up, and I think that's a solid way to buy time. MF is opting for this Bloodthirster secondary that we do see so often for the MF. I mean, it's just really nice having that shield as well as a sustain, considering the recent nerfs to just sustain in general. I mean, something like the Bloodthirster is really high value, and I see it a lot on MF.
Yeah, exactly. I think UTD's kind of backing off now. They're not pushing their waves as much anymore. I think they're kind of transitioning into this more passive state where they're just trying to answer Rutgers wherever they go and not try to push, for objectives or anything like that. There's nothing really on the map to do right now, so they're just going to be pushing lanes and waiting around to see what Rutgers does.
And we are going to see the Borg into tank mythic coming in from the side of the Yone. It's something popularized in Korean solo queue by Genji's mid laner Chovy. We saw him. He preferred to build the Sunfire, but I have seen a lot of high elo players opt for the Frostfire at times. Haven't really seen much of the Ken tank. I don't think it's as valuable as the first two. But yeah, I mean, I think this is really smart considering that Rutgers is really low range, so you can maximize the value of that Sunfire mythic.
And we do have Dragon coming up pretty soon, and Lily is on the wrong side of the map. I think they're looking to trade the Dragon, but now we're kind of converging topside, getting a pick on this Echo perhaps. We've got Maokai ult coming in.
The flash in coming in, that's really overzealous. I don't know if they can reach that map. I mean, she has no stuns to taking out on top of her. So that's going to ult the Mumu into the back line. I mean, so that's going to flash in. There's one kill down so far for the side of UTD. Another kill picked up onto the MF. The Volibear is going to fall as well. And the Lilia, ooh, she's really low. She's going to pick up the kill onto the set. It's actually really big. Set is down. They're going to be looking onto the Zillion. I don't know if you want to take this if you're Lilia. But I think if you're UTD, you're okay with that trade considering you just shut down the set.
Yeah, I think the set shutdown is really, really big. Unfortunately, MF did go down that fight because she just didn't have the space able to ult, and when she did, it was kind of a little bit too late. So I think Rutgers did a really, really good job of kind of zoning MF out and keeping that space. So I don't think that's a terrible fight.
That was a really scrappy fight from all sides. I mean, we saw fighting up at the red buff, we saw fighting down at the tower. Like, they were fighting all over the place. And I think if you're Rutgers, it's kind of fights you want all these really scrappy team fights.
Yeah, exactly.
Because like we said, UTD wants to opt this very wombo combo style of team fighting with the Amumu, with the Lilia, Yone, MF. So I think if you're Rutgers, you want to split this fight, isolate the AD carry, isolate the tanks even. I mean, if you're a set, you take the tank into the AD carry. I think it's a really strong way of team fighting, and it has netted them a 6k gold lead, so they are really strong right now.
Yep, they're 2 dragons up and a 6k gold lead up. They've got a few more towers as well, so Rutgers is sitting pretty right now. They can pretty much go wherever they want on the map. They're exerting a lot of pressure here onto UTD.
I mean, that's the third item coming for the set. It's a Thornmill. It's actually really interesting. I didn't expect that one. I won't lie. I usually see people offer something like the Black Cleaver if they have a lot of armor, and I've been considering Yone is building tank. And there's a Mumu in the bot lane, you can make that argument. You can even offer something like a Dust Dance, but I don't know how I feel about this Thornmill, considering I feel like a lot of the healing that UT Dallas does have won't be hitting the set.
Yeah, I kind of like the Thornmail here. I mean, it's a little bit offensive because he knows that, one person that can probably kill him is MF, and if not him, then probably Yone, because he can kind of delete the Lilia if she gets too close. So I don't think that's a terrible pick, but yeah, I think something like a Death Dance would kind of assert his dominance a little bit more.
Yeah. And we do see this 1-3-1 coming in from both teams. Both mid laners in the bot lane here, and both top laners in the top lane. You know, they're on their island. You know, no one paid them any minds, but we do see the junglers and supports kind of like hovering between the Baron pit area and the mid lane. They're looking at a contested division, and if they see an opening to get the Baron, they'll go ahead and take it.
UGD really wants to get, you know, a pick here, anything that they can kind of push that lead forward, but Rutgers is doing a really good job of just, you know, staying close on the map, not getting caught out, and, you know, playing this really safe and well. We've got Volibear pushing top. This is really all he can do.
Yeah, I mean, he's just out of the game. He's really kept up in, like, not kept up, but he hasn't fallen too far behind in CS. I mean, he still has more CS than the mid laner and the AD carry for Rutgers, but he's quite behind this. The sleep coming in onto the Tristana is going to force her rocket jump backwards. That is a Lilia ult used, so you can't really contest his Baron anymore. It should be a free Baron picked up on the side of Rutgers.
Yeah, I think that she was looking to, you know, start something there, but it didn't really end up happening. We've got the
Both
Everfrost.
from the Zillion and the Maokai ulti as well. They're probably going to look to DPS down this Baron. It's currently
yeah, that's
be
just a free
taken from
Baron.
Rutgers. So if Rutgers really happy with this, you just walk out, you know, 5 people have a Baron, you know, great play, great heads up play.
Yeah, as soon as Lily ulted one person, I mean, that was just a free Baron, right? They have no pressure anymore.
And I think the flash that did come out from the Rutgers mid laner was really intelligent, knowing that, hey, if this Mbumu Q connects, he's going to chain it with his ult and another Q, so I'm probably going to be stunned up and I'll probably die. So I think that was really pivotal that he's like, yo, it's coming towards me, I have to flash right now.
Yeah, huge change from last game. I mean, Rutgers is really pushing their lead. They're really dominating. They're taking their objectives. They're taking space. They're getting there early, which is a big difference from last game. And UTG's kind of late to the game on some of these objective fights.
I mean, the zoning is complete for Lilia. Considering she is only she is the only major AP damage. A lot of like I said, the AP damage falls on her. She's headed towards a Force of Nature third with the pickup of the Negatron cloak and the Root Crystal. But I mean, I'm not 100% sure how I feel about the build, considering you are the main AP damage. But I mean, it could be solid, considering she is no slacker this game either. She's really strong.
Yeah, I think she's trying to avoid becoming kind of a glass cannon. That's also kind of what they need right now. They really need that strong AP damage because the rest of them's AD. Can't really do much.
Yeah, and I mean, we can see Seth, for example, at the pickup of the Thornmail, he isn't worried too much about Lilia's damage. I mean, Yone's damage is pretty mixed. He does do like a decent amount of magic damage, but he is so confident that they're mostly AD, he just opts for the Thornmail on the set. And I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a Zhonya's on the Echo and on the Zillion, as well as some armor on the Maokai.
And we do have the Frostfire Gauntlet on the Yone as well, so he is looking to go a little bit beefier, a little bit tankier, trying not to, you know, we don't have the shield bow or anything, so probably not trying to do tons of damage in these
But
fights.
the Echo is going to come out. They're going to engage onto the Echo here. He's going to blow his Zhonya's and his ulti, and he's going to fall. Ameth is caught out in an odd situation, but she's going to get over the wall. Tristana's going to jump in. She's going to pick up the kill onto the Ameth. Yone is going to ult in. He's not able to kill anyone quite yet. They're going to look through the Maokai here. The Maokai's going to fall. Tristana is coming out of the Zillion ulti, and it looks like she's just going to jump in. I mean, Rutgers is over-engaged. I mean, they went on the tower, and everyone's going to fall. So Tristana.
Huge fight there! Oh my gosh, we got the Echo shut down on the MF. We've got the Lilia coming in and just slamming her staff around. We've got the giant bear ulting in under tower. Like, that was a really good fight for UTG.
That was just great from all
sides. They are chilling. I think Rutgers kind of overextended their lead a little bit. They got caught, but then they committed, and I don't think you commit there. And that was a really big lead for UTG.
I mean, props to UTG's AD carry. I mean, he put out tons of damage before he died there. I thought he was going to get one shot the moment he was kind of pulled out of base by the set E, but I mean, he kept on grinding. He put out huge numbers, and I mean, they were able to pick up a lot of these kills after my bad, I'm sorry, got them really low.
Yeah, exactly.
And Jasonaa was looking at 50-50, but you're not going to win this fight, buddy. You're not going to beat the Lilia. Dragon is picked up on the side of UTG, 2 dragons to 2 dragons. So like I said, a very delayed soul. I mean, this game could probably easily go on for another 5 to 7 minutes, if not longer. The MF is on 3 items right now, compared to Tristana's 2.5. So she is pretty accelerated. The Yone, like we said, did complete the Frostfire, and we saw that he was doing work in that team fight as well. And Rutgers was really over-engaged when it came to that play right there. You kind of didn't need to once you blew the MF summons. You kind of just like take your wins and just walk away.
Exactly, and that's probably a pretty big turning point for the game as well, because, I mean, Rutgers really wanted to push their lead there. That's not a fight that you want to lose, because eventually, you know, your Echo's going to start falling off and its damage. You know, the Amumu and the Volibear are going to start ramping up because they're just going to become giant beef balls that you can't get through. So I think UTD is just looking to play this slow, capitalize on mistakes like that, and really push that lead. So that was a really, really good fight for UTD.
Yeah, 100%. And there's no objectives on the map at the moment, and we're probably just going to see Rutgers pushing this mid and top wave. We see some question pings going on to the topside jungle here. They might be aware that there's 4 members up here. We might see some action pretty soon. Rutgers isn't scared to walk in here.
Yeah, they're taking a lot of space in this jungle here, but there's nothing to fight for. So they're probably just looking to get a pick so that they can push some towers here. We've got Yone splitting bot side. He does have TP though, so he is available for a fight if he needs to be. And we're just kind of taking space.
Rutgers isn't scared. They're not backing out. They're saying, hey, this is our jungle. We're going to get the vision control here, and you're not going to do anything about it. And, I mean, they're really confident with the lead that they have. If UTD can't really contest them.
Yeah, and we see, you know, all the CC coming out on Volibear, it really means nothing. He took, like, basically 0 damage because that's just his job. He's just there to soak. He's just there to peel. So even though he did kind of lose lane, he's doing really, really well in these 2 fights.
And the Maokai is going to come in. That was a really smart ulti by the Volibear going ensemble in his ultimate. The Mumu is going to fall, and the Maokai is under tower. The set is going to fall to the tower. Echo is taking up next. Echo's going to go ahead and ult out. I mean, so far it's 1 for 2. I mean, UCD is just winning out on these dives. Rutgers kind of doing the same thing as they did earlier. You know, they're diving past the towers. They really don't need to do that.
Yeah, I think this set is kind of feeling himself like, you know, he is really, really strong. He has a really good ultimate, but when you're fighting under towers like this, you don't have the advantage.
I mean, the ult's coming in. The flash is going to be blown by the Zillion. They're going to pick up the kill onto the Tristana, but not before she trades onto the Lilia. And looks like MF is going to chase onto the Zillion and Echo, but I don't know if she catches up with the Echo speed. Oh, and they are going to catch him.
Deleted! He jumped in just to die. Dang.
I mean, the gold lead is falling every minute. The gold lead goes down, and now we're at pretty much.
MF went from 4-4 and 300 CS to 8-4 and 320 CS. Like, she is doing really, really well. Like we said, I mean, if UTD just had to play towards the MF, and she will get strong, and she can carry this team.
Yeah, and I mean, damage is really key for this MF. She is heading towards her IE, and she's more or less about to complete her core items. She's about 1 item away at the moment. And they do pick up the Baron
Just
here,
secured Baron. I mean, 2 minutes ago, we were at a 6k gold lead. Now they're even. It's 59k to 59k. So, I mean, one team fight like that can really, really flip a game.
And I'm curious to see if a lot of these throws are because Rutgers is starting to fall behind, or if they just are like over-engaging. Because I still feel like they can still win a fight. It's not like it's completely doomed, but definitely a little bit of throwing going on.
I think they do have a really good chance here if they play more patiently and they kind of wait for UTD to come in, because like your Set and your Echo, they do a lot of damage, but they're going to start falling off pretty soon here. So they did want to play it fast. They do want to get this going, but like you said, they just kind of overextended.
So IE is going to complete it for this MF. He's going to head towards their Zeal, most likely a Phantom Dancer or an RFC. Both are great options. We are seeing a lot of champions completing their 2nd, 3rd items. Titanic coming in for the Volibear, Force of Nature for the Lily as we predicted. And he's actually getting Frozen Heart next with the purchase of the Glacial Buckler there. I think Yone might be headed towards the Death's Dance with the pickaxe and Caulfield, but we're starting to see 3rd items and 4th items coming here.
Yeah, and I really like the Lord Doms on MF as well. I think that's going to be really strong into their team. Just kind of push that lead, push that damage, and that's going to be really big on her ult as well. We've got Set running in here.
I mean, he's not scared. He's a Giga Chad. He's just doing sit-ups on their screen, but I think if you are Set, you have to go back favor like I mentioned earlier with the armor stacking from the side of UTD. The engage from the Maokai, I mean, this is a solid flank. Looks like they're going to pick up the kill onto Lilia and the Zonius from the Amumu. He should be falling shortly as well. Hasn't fallen yet. He's going to start the Echo. That was a great Q. I mean, Amumu's kind of recognizing, hey, I can trade on to the Echo here. I mean, that's a great flash coming from Rutgers. And that's another kill picked up by their bot lane.
Yeah, I mean, that was a pretty good fight for Rutgers. I mean, they got a 2-for-1, but you lose 2 towers and an inhibitor.
I mean,
so
you lost towers, you lost the inhib in the bot lane. They're still going for the fight. I mean, even if you do kill Lilia, you lost 2 inhibs. So kind of begs the question, was that really worth? Honestly, in my opinion, not really.
Yeah, I mean, they do secure the dragon, which is Soul Point. That is pretty strong, but now both your inhibs are down. You can't leave base. You have too much pressure in your base, you know? So not sure if that was a great fight to take.
Yeah, and with the set TP Set not having TP, and only TP being Zillion. Zillion can't clear both of them at the same time. And it's gonna be a big pick onto Zione, and Volibear's gonna ult out, but I think he might still die. The rocket jump coming in from Tristana. So damage coming out. Maokai's W should be up soon. And there it is. We're gonna have the pullback on set, and that should be yet another kill picked up from
Wow.
Rutgers.
Yeah, I think Volibear just totally overstayed there. He should have backed as soon as possible, just run
And
away
I mean,
from
they're
them.
picking up a lot of gold, but with the 2 inhibs, you can even see like they sent the Echo to clear waves as well as Zillion, so kind of acknowledged, yo, we actually need to pay attention to these waves, because if not, I mean, maybe UZD sneaks something in.
Yeah, pretty even game so far. I mean, we've got back to a little bit of a gold lead on Rutgers' side. They are down 2 inhibs though, so that's going to be pretty rough for them. So yeah, I mean, it could go either way right now.
Yeah, and like I mentioned earlier, the RFC is going to come in from this MF. This is a really solid pick, as she doesn't want to be outranging them. She already naturally outranges a lot of their champions, but you know, you can never have too much auto attack range. So I think it's a great pick from the MF. She's full build. I mean, she could really just sell her Berserker Grease for like a Phantom Dancer or something, but at this point, she's more or less full build.
Or honestly, Guardian Angel, I think would be
Guardian
really
Angel wouldn't be
valuable.
bad either, considering how much dive there is.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of the pressure is going to be on the jungler for UTD, because, like we said earlier, he is one of the most fed members, but we haven't really seen these big 3-man, 4-man, 5-man sleeps yet. And I mean, that's one of their win cons, so I'm really curious to see how he does play in the next few minutes or so.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because when he does get a really good sleep on, he has to use Anyas because he's almost about to die. So
Yeah, 100%.
it's kind of a little bit of stalling action there as well, which is pretty valuable. Looks like we're kind of looking around mid side here. UTG is going to really want to be pushing mid lane, or, you know, because both top and bot inhibs are down. There's nothing really to do there. So if they can kind of push mid lane and win through that side, I think they
Oh, they're
can
going to go aggressive onto the Volibear. I mean, this should be yet another death. Oh, he's going to ult over, but I think Echo takes it, and he's going to pick up the kill. That's just when he's just 2-7. He's just really far behind.
Yeah, I think he just gets caught there, unfortunately. It's not a huge deal, but it's going to be pretty valuable in some of the coming team fights. That could make or break one of these team fights here.
Echo now is 11 and for me. He's just taking over the game. He accounts for basically a third of Rutgers' kills. It's aggressive moves onto the AD carry, or sorry, the Echo, and they're going to pick up the kill onto the Echo. And that's a huge pick, and considering that, you know, he was your strongest member, and I think they go to the MF if I'm correct. That's a huge shutdown for the MF.
Yeah, now she's 10 and 5. She's really strong. She's full build. She's just looking to, you know, take towers, take kills, and kind of end this game quick. And that's exactly what they're going to do. Delete this tower. They're going to go for they're probably going to look at this tower, look at this inhib, and then possibly rotate for Baron. We got a big flash. And on the set, we've got the ult. MF is
kiting really well. I mean, she picks up the kill onto the Maokai. So far, it's a 2 for none so far.
Yoneo coming
is gonna go in. I mean,
absolutely
UTD
like
just going off. I mean, they're really behind, but I mean, I think he's gonna take away the team fight. It's gonna be 3 kills picked up for UTD, and I mean, 2 inhibs down. You have minis coming in from the top and the bot lane. I think if you're UTD, you might be able to push for the win here.
That is a game-winning fight right there. They just get the tower, they get the inhib, and then
they still have 45 seconds on the set. I think if you're UTD, you might look for the win here.
Exactly. There's nothing. I mean, Tristana can't really do anything here. Zillion can't really do anything here.
The Volibear isn't going to shut down the towers. Oh, huge pick on Tristana. They're going to pick up Tristana. And this is just
Zillion
huge. I mean,
cannot hold this back.
out of nowhere, UTD just, you know, turned
Echo was trying his best. He's
they
trying
turned the
to come in
burners on and
here.
they picked up yet another. Oh, Zillion barely gets away. They're going to open the Nexus, though. I think if you're UTD, you're probably asleep after the Nexus.
Yeah, I think they might just go for it.
MF is staying. I think you should run.
Yeah, they should go.
Yeah.
They should go right now.
Lilia is going to tank this ult for the MF. Oh, double stun.
Yeah.
It's lights out for both of them.
Oh.
I think Lilia might be able to kite it. She might be able to kite it. She doesn't fall quite yet. The Zillion ult onto the Maokai. He should burn. Oh! The Zillion ult wore off. He actually died. I was really well played by Lilia.
Yeah. Oh, Winions coming through.
The trigger display from
I
Lilia
don't know if they can kill him in time. I mean, Zillion's got pretty good clear though.
Yeah.
Crazy fight. I think
the gold swing was just insane. I mean, at this point, I mean, they're still down gold, but 1k gold at 36 minutes is basically 0. I mean, that's not much of an advantage anymore.
Yeah.
And out of nowhere, UT just turned it on. I mean, I was kind of falling asleep in my chair a little bit, but I woke up, I opened my eyes, and they're winning a team fight. I mean, just amazing from ECD.
Yeah, Rutgers is maybe up in kills, but I mean, their Nexus is like on its last legs.
I mean, UTD Spirit, they're not giving up anytime soon. I mean, that was just great.
I do think they should have left a little bit earlier when that Maokai
I think once the Maokai comes up and he has his ulti, you're kind of like, you know, we got a lot, let's go ahead and leave. I mean, they didn't lose any. Like, they still get the dragon here. A soul point for them. And, I mean, this is the most number of dragons that could be killed in a game, 3 for each side. So, I mean, it's going to be like a 40-minute soul at this point. So,
Rutgers is hurting right now. I don't know really what they can do. They can probably look to get a sweep on Baron here. They have to fight here. They don't have a choice.
and, I
But
mean,
it's going to be a
Super's
really,
coming
really
in.
tough fight coming in.
UTD, I mean, I think a really important thing is they got a lot of shutdowns. They got a lot of gold from the towers. But the biggest thing is they got to cash in. So, I mean, you look at the 80 carry, and the 80 carry's full build. He's even sold his boots.
Yep.
Their 80 carry still has an item to go.
Yeah, he's
So-
got the Merc Scepter now, so
Yeah,
that
so-
that Maokai ult, that Set
Yeah.
ult, like nothing's gonna.
I mean,
Get him.
Lilia's full build. Volibear's getting close to full build. Volibear's pretty much even with Set now, considering how far behind he was. He's done a really good job of staying relevant in this game. And I mean, someone like the Amumu. Amumu has 10 deaths, but I mean, I feel like he's just been so useful in these team fights,
Yeah.
finding these ults, finding these Qs. I mean,
Yep.
he's always willing to throw his life away if it's a 1-for-1. I think it's something that you really need when you're playing Amumu specifically. Amumu similar to like Leona and Nautilus. Once you're in there, you're in there. So
Exactly, and you're not
mean,
getting out.
yeah.
And it doesn't really matter if you die because you're not worth gold anyway.
Yeah, so I mean, there's out here sweeping out Vision on the top. They're going to start with this Baron. And I think with Yone in the bot lane, UTD does have the priority in this situation. Rutgers is going to send a Zillion to match the Yone, but I mean, this should just be a free Baron.
Yeah, that is a really fast Baron. There's nothing that Rutgers can do here.
Yeah, and
They're gonna have to take their last stand in their base, and it's gonna be a really, really tough.
Yone
tough
is going to
fight for
back
them.
off. It looks like UTD is going to head to this mid wave now. They're probably going to look through pushing through mid. I think Yone's best bet is if he has gold, he resets in TPs, but he should group up with his team here. But I think they have their best chance of winning is through 5v5s at this point. So,
Yeah.
I
I,
mean-
think Yone's been doing a really good job of splitting as well. I mean, he's 1-7. He knows he's not super strong. He knows he's not doing a ton of damage. I mean, he is pretty good in team fights, but his strength has been splitting and putting pressure on other parts of the map.
Yeah, and I mean, he's 1-7, but they're sending 1, 2, and I even saw 3 people in the bot lane there. I mean, that's a lot of pressure. And Maokai is going to be blown, and Mumu does go in. And the Mega Rate is going to come in from the MF. Maokai flashes in. Should be the kill onto the Maokai. Tristana is slept. MF is going to click in. She's going to... Oh, she doesn't pick up the kill onto Tristana. Tristana lives. But Yone is going off. He's going to pick up the kill onto the Echo. And, I mean, Volibear's in the base. I think that might be GG.
I think he just, yeah, there's
And out
nothing
of
this poor
nowhere,
Zillion can
GTD
do
just-
to beat up this bear.
I mean, out of nowhere, you see, just brought it back together. I didn't see this one coming.
GG's.
GG.
That is a 2-0 UTD win. Crazy game.
I mean, yeah, that game was just crazy. Like I said, I was falling asleep in my chair. I thought this game was over, but just out of nowhere, I wake up and I see them, pushing for Nexus, and they just kind of come out of nowhere. And that team fight didn't look great, but the Yone, the 1-7 Yone, the split
Yeah.
pushing Prodigy, I mean, he brought it in. I mean, that was great League of Legends.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, Rutgers was winning for like 2/3 of that game. I mean,
Yeah,
they
100%.
were doing really, really well. And then all of a sudden, UTD comes online. They start funneling that MF, and she, her ultimate can just turn a team fight like
Yeah,
that.
and we saw something like that when you throw on the MF ult, it kind of forces Rutgers to respond immediately. So you saw Maokai flashing in, but at that point he's half health, and once he's half health, I mean he's just like
Yeah.
he's more or less dead. And the Lilia sleep was really huge in that fight because MF did fall really low, but after Tristana fell to the Lilia ult, she kind of couldn't finish off the MF, and MF was able to dish a lot of damage back. And I mean, Volibear was hitting the Nexus the whole time. I mean, they just played the map so well, and
Yeah.
I think this was a great game from UTD, and it's gonna be the 2-0 series victory.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, Set was doing really, really well the entire time. Echo was doing really well the entire time. But as soon as they took that fight, in UTD's base under that tower, that was a turning point. I mean,
Yeah,
that was just
100%.
kind of a slow slide from
And
there.
I think for UTD, you're really happy with the game, the way this game went. I mean, yeah, it sucks that you just fall behind, but I think their ability to stay in the game, stay calm. And they were 16 gold down, and that's no small gold.
Yeah.
That was a pretty decent gold lead. And I mean, they're like, hey, hey guys, the game's not over. We still got this. Stay calm. We got this. And they played with such composure. I mean, Amumu was staring 2 people down, and he wasn't scared. He was still going in. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it was a great game from everyone. Again, similar to the last game. I mean, we mentioned how the Yone, the Volibear, they're both really behind, but they were playing the side lanes so well. I mean, they do have the TP advantage, so I mean, they're able to just join the fight, play these side lanes more so than Rutgers, and I mean, that was just a great game.
Yeah, UTD is really strong at playing from behind, and I think that really showed for this game.
Yeah,
so.
and I think a lot of it, like we mentioned earlier, it just comes down to their preparation. I mean, they were prepared. I mean, like we said, Game 1 draft was so different from Game 2 draft, and I mean, it looked a little bit shaky, but they still got the job done at the end of the day.
Yeah, exactly. Crazy game to watch. So yeah, UTD wins 2-0.
Yep.
Play the music loud. time.